Hello there, Roster Watch Nation. It's your friendly neighborhood Trashman here to do another Best Ball Mania 3 draft. So I'm going to give you guys maybe a couple minutes if you want to join up. But I'm going to enter the next draft here. So we're still waiting for 10 people. So if you are just joining, feel free to enter the draft with me. Come draft with me and circumvent all of my moves because I'm probably going to tell you what they're going to be. So, but if you do come draft, make sure that prior to doing so, you go and download our best ball cheat sheet at rosterwatch.com. It'll give you an optimal best ball draft per usual, or the optimal best ball draft per usual. Just waiting for 9 more people. 8 now. All right, so it's starting to fill up. Again, if you're just joining me, feel free to enter the draft with me. Let's do this together. So it'll be interesting to see kind of how the landscape has shifted over the past week with Baker Mayfield going to the Panthers. Let's see if it boosts Christian McCaffrey's stock up to the first pick. I mean, I think it could. Although, if I am to get the first draft pick in this draft, I will probably go Jonathan Taylor just because chances are if you don't take Jonathan Taylor with the first pick, you're not going to get any Jonathan Taylor in the majority of these drafts. Whereas with McCaffrey, you can maybe get him, within the top 5 picks. Taylor just probably isn't going to fall very often at all. So again, if you're joining us, we're still waiting for 8 people for this draft. So join in with the draft. It's the most recent Best Ball Mania 3 draft with 30-second picks on underdogfantasy.com. So we're still waiting for 7 people, so there's room for you to join up and take all my picks before I can make them, which would be interesting. It'd be actually kind of fun to have to pivot. But again, if you are drafting with me or just drafting in general in any of these Best Ball 3 drafts, make sure you go to rosterwatch.com and pick up our Best Ball draft cheat sheet. It's the best one around. Matthew Berry, who just moved on from ESPN, uses our cheat sheets for his draft guide. So that should say something. I'm not sure what it says, but it should say something. So just waiting for 5 people. I'm going to run and get some water for this draft. So I'm going to be here for a minute. Still waiting for 5 people. So, in taking a look at this best ball 3 cheat sheet, haven't been a whole lot of moves that I can see that have, you know, Alex has made. Justin Jefferson is above Jamar Chase right now, and that's because Justin Jefferson has Kevin O'Connell as new head coach, who was formerly the offensive coordinator for Los Angeles, and he's bringing that pass happy offensive scheme to Minnesota. So Justin Jefferson, for all intents and purposes, is going to be his new Cooper Cup. Um, and if that's any indication of the kind of season he's going to have in fantasy and otherwise, Justin Jefferson needs to be, if not, the top wide receiver pick, right behind Cooper Cup. So just waiting for 2 more people. One more person. Maybe that one person could be you. Okay, waiting for one person.
And hello there, Roster Watch Nation.
Oh, wow.
Trashman.
It's one of my other YouTube windows popped open from something I recorded. All right, and there we have it. The draft is starting in less than a minute. I am picking at the 12th spot. So it's nice that I'll be able to pick back to back, but there'll be a lot of time in between picks, so you'll have to bear with me. But from my prior experience in these best ball 3 drafts, I think I've only drafted at the 11. I think that's the latest that I've picked. But I got a pretty good draft from that. So it'll be interesting to see how the turn turns out. And here we go. First pick will be Taylor McCaffrey. Who wants to make a bet? And it is Jonathan Taylor with the first pick. Can't begrudge Keggers for that. Next pick, let's see if it's McCaffrey. I mean, I think it should be. And this person's going right down to the wire with it. It might be auto pick or something. Christian McCaffrey for the second pick. Justin Jefferson with the third. So this is pretty much going, according to the cheat sheet or how we have them ranked thus far. So I'm guessing I'll maybe either get a Devontae Adams or Najee Harris or Mike Evans. All right, going pretty quickly now. Almost an Eckler. So I'm gonna queue up a few of these guys according to the cheat sheet. Actually, CD Lamb needs to be at the top of this group. See if he'll drop. Oh, they got him. Okay, well then let's. What do we want to go with here? Adams, Najee, Harris. Let's go with Adams. Then we get the next pick too. So Najee Harris or Mike Evans. You know what? I'm gonna go Mike Evans. Trashman always has a soft spot for these wide receivers. So it may end up being one of these situations where I, go wide receiver heavy to start out and get some upside running backs on the back end, almost like a zero running back kind of approach, which hasn't actually treated me that poorly in the past. We'll see what happens. So again, once you start to pick these players, we have Devontae Adams, Mike Evans. You have to start to look in these larger field drafts at stacks, the potential to stack these players. I mean these players on particular teams. So right now we're looking at either a Raiders stack or a Tampa Bay stack, um, both of which I think are very possible considering that neither one of these teams has that many other players that are in really high demand early on in these drafts. I think I'll be able to get Derek Carr later. I think I'll be able to um, get either Josh Jacobs or Zamir White. Could even maybe stack a Hunter Renfro in there. And with Mike Evans, Tom Brady, um, maybe a Rashad White. I'll get involved in that stack. Could even maybe get a Chris Godwin if he drops considerably. So there's going to be a lot to work with if we want to create a stack from either one of those players. You won't have Leonard Fournette in that Tampa Bay stack, though, as he just got picked up. That was something I kind of expected not to happen. Mark Andrews just got picked. Oh, there's my phone. Debo Samuel, Michael Pittman. Michael Pittman's a player I like to get in these best ball drafts um, fairly often, just because I can often get an Indianapolis stat going pretty late. So So 8 picks away from me. Travis Etienne just went Alex's favorite running back right now. Javonte Williams, I love as a player, but I think where you can get Melvin Gordon in comparison to Williams in these best ball tourneys, Gordon offers a lot more value. AJ Brown, Keenan Allen, Jared Allen. Mike Williams just went. Kyle Pitts, tight end out of Atlanta. So just 2 more picks before me. Let's see who's available. I mean, we have James Conner, Alvin Kamara here, potentially, this next. I mean, so I could shore up. I mean, I could basically add 2 top-end running backs in the next two picks. Having waited after drafting 2 wide receivers off the bat. Okay, so there we have it. So that's what we'll do. Draft James Conner and Alvin Kamara, who may miss up to 6 games, but I think there's a chance. Alex and I were talking about it. I think there's a chance that he may just miss maybe 2 games, because the NFL let him play in the Pro Bowl after finding out about the altercation in Las Vegas. So I think they might use that fact to their advantage. Kamara's camp. So hopefully it's just a 2-game suspension. If it is, then we're getting immense value with taking Kamara with our 4th pick here. Okay, so maybe we think about stacks here. So we added some potential with Alvin Kamara. A New Orleans stack would be easy to make. An Arizona stack. Arizona stack's probably going to be the hardest one to make just because Kyler Murray, is he even still around? Yeah, Kyler Murray's still around, but I'm doubtful that he will be by the time I pick again. If he is, though, we can make an Arizona stack. Otherwise, New Orleans, Las Vegas, Tampa Bay, these are all stacks that we can make a little bit later. I've yet to make a Tampa Bay stack, so that would be interesting. I've yet to make a Vegas stack either in any of these drafts. So maybe that's what we'll angle for. And again, the reason why we make these stacks in these large field tournaments is just because you have a better chance of excelling in these tournaments if one of these stacks does actually hit. And fewer people are likely to make stacks, and especially stacks out of less formidable offenses or attractive offenses. So we're 7 picks out. Right now, the team we have again is James Conner, Alvin Kamara, Devontae Adams, and Mike Evans. So 4 picks away. Let's see who's here. Let's see. Quarterback. So Kyler Murray is gone. And so I could potentially get a Brady stack going, but there's some really good players here that I could take otherwise. So I'm probably just going to wait for Derek Carr or Jameis Winston to make a stack. Although I could get this Josh Jacobs, I could get Josh Jacobs here. Okay, so I'm going to take DK Metcalf. And then I'm going to take Josh Jacobs. Work on that Raiders stack. Okay, so team thus far is James Conner, Alvin Kamara, Josh Jacobs as my running backs. Pretty sick. Then Devontae Adams, Mike Evans, DK Metcalf as my receivers. So far I'm liking picking at the turn here. Really getting some premier talent. So I'm going to queue up Derek Carr. See some other guys that I like. Russell Gage I like. Russell Gage I like because we don't really know what the tight end situation is going to look like in Tampa Bay. We've got this new kid, Kate Otten, but we have Cameron Brate as well. But it could be Russell Gage who actually gets a lot of that underneath action. Um, so he's somebody that I like. Antonio Gibson, I mean, I love his talent. It's kind of a crowded backfield in Washington right now, but Antonio Gibson is, I mean, when he's healthy, he could he could be a top. I mean, he can perform like a top five back when he's healthy. So I had him, Drake London. I like his chances as well. You know, I'm going to queue up Russell Wilson as well, just in case I can get Wilson and maybe. Oh, didn't want that to happen. So, like I was saying, I could maybe get Russell Wilson and Derek Carr. Miles Sanders. I mean, he's just going to get so many touches. You have to consider here. Then Hunter Renfro, just when we're thinking about this Las Vegas stack. So I'll cue him up. Michael Thomas, I'll cue him up too. You know, because I could still get a New Orleans stack going. So it'd be pretty sick to have Alvin Kamara, Michael Thomas, and Jameis Winston. So that might be something I angle for too. All right, so let's see. Five picks away. Let's see which of my players I have queued are still available. Okay. So I'm going to be able to take at least two of these guys. Antonio Gibson just went. So unless he gets taken, I'm going to take Derek Carr to build that stack. And I'm going to take Michael Thomas. So it looks like the stacks I'm going to be working on are going to be a New Orleans stack and a Raider stack. So potentially New Orleans stack if I can get Jameis Winston later. But right now, the Raiders stack I have is Derek Carr, Josh Jacobs, and Devontae Adams, which is pretty sick. Other players I have wide receiver Mike Evans, DK Metcalf, Michael Thomas. So deep. And then running backs James Conner and Josh Jacobs, or Alvin Kamara, and in addition to Josh Jacobs. So it's actually a really nice draft that I'm able to cultivate so far. But now I'm 17 picks away. So I'm going to take a look at some of these other players. I'm just going to queue up Jameis Winston just so that he's in the mix. Let's look at some other players that I like. Chris Olave, I love. Kareem Hunt, I really do think that was potentially like it's going to be Jacoby Brissett under center. I think they're going to go, kind of run heavy. And I feel like Kareem Hunt as an extension of the passing game and the runs. So I'm going to queue up Kareem Hunt because I think he's going to get a lot of touches. Rashad Penny, I'm going to queue up just because I think he's just woefully undervalued right now. Same with Robert Woods. I think he's actually probably going to lead Tennessee in receiving, at least for most of the season. And if I can't get Rashad Penny, maybe Kenneth Walker will be a nice consolation prize. So let's see. I do need to look at a tight end potentially. Dallas Goddard just went, so maybe we'll queue up Dawson Knox, who also just went. I think a lot of players are starting to pick tight ends right now. So maybe we just wait for a tight end, just because it doesn't look like we're going to get a premier one. Though I think Pat Fryerman's going to be an excellent tight end option this season. So we'll queue him up. Okay, a few more picks before me. Oh, Chris Olave just went. Oh, a lot of these guys that I love. Okay. Let's see here. I'm going to take probably Rashad Penny if I can, if he drops. And he does. And then, I'm going to take Robert Woods. All right, so this next couple picks that I'll make, I'm probably going to have to, well, I guess I don't have to get a tight end, but I probably will get a tight end. So I'll queue up some of these guys that I like. Cole Kmet, Mike Gesicki, Albert O. That's about where the buck stops for me. So I think I should probably be able to get one of those guys in my next two picks. So let's look at some other options. Ramondre Stevenson, I think, is going to be the primary pass catching back for New England. Oh, he just got scooped up. Ronald Jones, I think, could be the two down back for Kansas City. So I'm going to cue him up. Christian Watson, I'm going to queue up. He could be the number one in Green Bay. Michael Gallup, I might queue up just because, I mean, he's just dropping in drafts right now, and he's probably not going to start out the season for the Cowboys on the field, but when he does, he could provide excellent value. Yeah, Rashad White, Damian Pierce, who I love, absolutely love. Jarvis Landry, part of that New Orleans stack, potentially. Jameis Williams, Detroit. I mean, Jared Goff is throwing to him, but Williams is a really talented receiver. Isaiah Spiller, I love for the Chargers. Probably the 1B there in the backfield. Naheem Hines, I think, is going to catch a lot of passes this season. Jalen Tolbert looks like a starter for the Cowboys, especially with Michael Gallup having issues. Tyler Algier could be the starting running back for the Falcons for all is said and done. Tyrion Davis Price looks like, could be a 1B in the 49ers backfield. More like the second back, but we'll see. Gus Edwards, always a good value where you can get him, which is usually pretty late. Khalil Herbert, it's going to be a run heavy Chicago offense this season. I think Khalil Herbert's going to be a big part of it. Okay. So let's see. So rankings wise, Winston is only a couple of quarterbacks back. So if I want to get him, I'll probably need to take him here. All right. AJ Green just went, as did Michael Gallup, Cole Kmet. So I'll probably take Winston and a tight end here. Yeah, I think that's what I'm going to do. So Irv Smith was the first tight end that I took. So far my team is Derek Carr, Jameis Winston as my quarterbacks, James Conner, Alvin Kamara, Josh Jacobs, Rashad Penny as my running backs, then Devontae Adams, Mike Evans, DK Metcalf, Michael Thomas, and Robert Woods as my receivers, and then Irv Smith as my tight end. This is maybe perhaps the deepest team that I've drafted so far in one of these best ball drafts. So we'll see what happens if one of these other tight ends drops. I might just add another tight end right here at the next turn. Um, not, I might queue up. Queue up a Taysom Hill for that New Orleans stack. Should be interesting. I need to look too and see if I have any bye week nightmares that I've built for myself. So not really. No, what my wide receivers have two have week 6 bye and two have week 11 buys. So maybe I look to add another wide receiver here. My next pick that does not have a week 6 or 11 bye. So Tolbert's the only wide receiver I have queued up right now. He's got a week 9 bye. Let's see who else might be worth adding into that mix. Devontae Parker, could be. Jamison Crowder. I mean, he's gonna get targets out of the slot for Buffalo. I mean, Sammy Watkins, again, like Kristen Watson, could be the number one in Green Bay. Paris Campbell. Okay. So 10 more picks. We got quite a few. Late wide receiver value. Wandale Robinson. I love. John Mechie out of Houston. Odell Beckham. I mean, we don't know where he's going to end up, but he's probably going to be pretty good wherever he does end up. James Washington out of Dallas looks like a starter right now. Brian Edwards could get quite a bit of run in Atlanta. Okay, so those are a lot of wide receivers to pick from potentially. All right, so just 3 picks away. Van Jefferson just went. So let me take a wide receiver and a running back here. So there we go. So I'll go with Jalen Tolbert. Looks like a starter. And then I'll go with Tyler Algier. Could be the starter there for Atlanta. So I'm getting some really good value later in this draft. So I think I have 4 more picks I'll be making. And so what I will probably do is add another tight end with at least one of those picks. and then I could, I think I'm pretty well fleshed out otherwise. I could get tied in with one of those picks and then put together another late stack. Let's see who's available. I mean, let's see. With any of these running backs, other running backs, could I make a stack? I mean, I could get a Marcus Mariota stack going because I got Tyler Algier. Could get Marcus Mariota or potentially Desmond Ritter, and although I don't know if he's still available. Yeah, he is. Um, and then any one of these other Atlanta receivers, I could add Brian Edwards to that. That's a potential stack I could do with Seattle. I could get Rashad Penny. I could get Geno Smith, and then I don't know if I like any of the pass catchers for Seattle. Although if Noah Fant is still around at tight end, that could be a stack worth making. Yeah, I don't think he is. Then Logan Thomas is there at tight end, who I like. I could make a Washington stack. So let me see if Brian Robinson is still around. He is. I'll just queue him up. Why not? Queue up Mark Ingram too. James Robinson, I'll queue up. Samir White, I will queue up. Oh, James D, what's up? Taysom going to split with Jameis under center? I mean, I don't really think so, but I'm trying to make a New Orleans stack here potentially. So, you know, throwing Taysom Hill in the mix in one of these large field drafts, I think could potentially give us an edge. I'm just spitballing here, so I'm just adding players who I think maybe could make this team a little bit more interesting. I'm queuing up. But you never know. If Winston flops, we could see a lot more Hill in there. I just don't think that's the plan. So like I said, I think I have 4 picks left here in this draft. 4 picks away. So I've queued up quite a few players. Can add to the stacks that I've already made, or I could create a new stack. Like I said, I could make an Atlanta stack here with Marcus Mariota and Brian Edwards and Tyler Algier, which I might do because I have yet to do that, and I don't think I don't think it's going to be a very popular stack. So tight ends. I'm actually going to take Logan Thomas as my other tight end. I love Logan Thomas, and I think he's woefully undervalued. And so after that, I think maybe I'm going to go for this Atlanta stack. So Marcus Mariota, and then I'll probably take Bryan Edwards. With one of my next picks, and with my last pick, one of these other guys will fall. But right now, oh, maybe somebody's delivering a package for my dog. I'm very interested in what's going on. So that's Murphy, who actually isn't my dog. I'm pet sitting for someone else, but Murphy is a very talkative dog, whereas my dog Speedy is not at all. But so far we have in this draft Derek Carr, Jameis Winston, Marcus Mariota at quarterback, and James Conner, Alvin Kamara, Josh Jacobs, Rashad Penny, Tyler Algier at running back, then Devontae Adams, Mike Evans, DK Metcalf, Michael Thomas, Robert Woods, and Jalen Tolbert at wide receiver, then Irv Smith and Logan Thomas at tight end. To kind of make the team that I made here with really deep wide receiver and running back fields, I had to, skimp at tight end. But I really do like Irv Smith and Logan Thomas. I think they represent a lot of value. Logan Thomas always does when he's healthy. And so 15 picks away. I'm going to try to put together a little bit more of this Atlanta stack with Bryan Edwards. So again, the name of the game here in these large field tournaments is stacks, and stacks that, not a lot of people are going to be on. So I feel like a Las Vegas stack. I feel like a New Orleans stack. I feel like an Atlanta stack. Those are all going to be stacks that people are going to be less likely to put together. So that Las Vegas stack I have is Derek Carr, Josh Jacobs, and then Devontae Adams. New Orleans stack I have is Jameis Winston, Alvin Kamara, and Michael Thomas. And then Atlanta, I hope it to be Marcus Mariota, Tyler Algier, and Bryan Edwards. So we'll see if that happens. I think there's a very good chance it will. And then with my last pick, I'll take one of these other guys that falls. Maybe I will take Taysom Hill there. Although he does a week 14 bye along with Logan Thomas. So that's something to consider. Okay, so 3 picks away. I think maybe I go with Bryan Edwards and Taysom Hill here. Although I feel remiss not to add James Robinson to this mix. Or James Washington, who looks like he's going to be a starter in Dallas to start the season. Oh, Taysom Hill just went. So at least, and I don't have to make that decision. So I'm going to take Bryan Edwards. And then I'm going to take, who am I going to take? I think I'm going to take James Washington. Just hog that Dallas receiver core. Yeah, I like that. So the team I ended up with, Derek Carr, Jameis Winston, Marcus Mariota as my quarterbacks. Running backs, James Conner, Alvin Kamara, Josh Jacobs, Rashad Penny, and Tyler Algier. Wide receivers, Devontae Adams, Mike Evans, DK Metcalf, Michael Thomas, Robert Woods, Jalen Tolbert, Brian Edwards, and James Washington. And then tight ends, Irv Smith and Logan Thomas. I think really the key here was getting tight ends that I felt comfortable with late on in this draft. I feel comfortable with Irv Smith. I feel comfortable with Logan Thomas. I think they're both going to get plenty of targets in their respective offenses, and they're both being undervalued to a certain extent. So this is a team that I like. And I think that's all the picks that I have. Yeah, it is. So there you have it. Thanks for drafting with me. If you did draft with me, something tells me that maybe that person who picked up Taysom Hill right before I had the chance to is drafting with me. In which case, kudos to you, sir or madam. Anyway, there you have it. It's been the Trashman on behalf of rosterwatch.com. Join me again next week on Thursday. I'll do another one of these Best Ball 3 Mania drafts. And until next time, be ready.